I see lead sources from events disappear more than I do anything else. So you might have somebody that's like coming to you after they met your team at an event. And they go, hey, I met you guys in Boston, and you had an amazing platform, and I would love to check it out further. When can we connect? So then you connect with them, and you do the qualifying, and it's very organic, and everything goes well, and then you convert that lead. Once you convert that lead, that event source, that lead source there, if it's not something that's static in Salesforce that carries over, or if you've put it in a custom field of some kind, you could potentially lose that. Let's say the deal doesn't go through. There's an opportunity lost, whatever happens. They end up not going with you. Then 2 years later, that company ends up coming back to us. And we have all this discovery already from our previous conversation for the deal that didn't close. Without knowing that it came from that event, can you really say that you should or shouldn't do that event again?
Yeah, so this is definitely a challenge, and I think this kind of is another way that we've built upon that model of like, okay, renaming the lead source to be database source, and then having a separate field for the salespeople or whomever to say, okay, how did this person hear about us? The third piece of that to make it really come together is that on the marketing side, we're tracking things in two ways. So we're saying we have a table that represents our channel touches, and that can be based off UTM parameters and such. But then we don't want to fuse our channel touches with what are our campaign touches. So a lot of what we did on the event side was actually managed through campaigns and not through lead source.
Yeah.
Certainly you'll have event as a lead source for things that are created net new, but the reality of it is, as you said, the sales process is complicated. So it's not always that, this person comes to an event and they're closed like right away. It might be 2 years later that they come back. And this problem becomes exacerbated, especially when your teams are comped off of lead source, which is like another thing that gives me, nightmares, because it makes it really hard for you to build transparency and trust.
Yeah.
And even to do change management, because you're up against a wall where you're like, saying that, okay, actually, this we're not going to use lead source to do compensation anymore, and now your effectiveness is going to go down. So what we did is we pretty much measure our events exclusively out of the campaign level. Certainly there would be opportunities and contacts and leads that had event as a lead source when that was their first touch, but we tried to measure the ROI of our events through campaigns, through the responses of those campaigns. But that's not a simple challenge, especially when you look at the in-person events. Because for events that are digital, where you have a webinar and the signups are coming in pushed from
registration form,
right, and they're pushed, and then once they attend, it automatically updates them and no-show. There is a lot of people alignment and process alignment that goes into, okay, when we're doing in-person events, how are we being deliberate about uploading the right information, updating things in a timely manner, changing those campaign statuses. But I would say the answer to your question is to do a lot of your events ROI out of the campaign object and not the lead source object.